A poised black woman in a crisp blazer stepped up to the first-class check-in at Elevation Air, only to be told, with an overconfident smirk, "You're not on the list." Before the agent could inhale his next breath, she delivered a lesson so exact and swift it left them staggering with regret. No grand spectacle, just a razor-sharp strike they'd carry like a lasting scar. That morning, Elena Maxwell swept into Chicago O'Hare's Terminal 2 with a quiet intensity that did not beg for attention but seized it outright. At 39, she was the CEO of Maxwell Innovations, a powerhouse known for resurrecting dying startups into profit-churning empires. Her name was etched into industry honors and patent ledgers, her face an artful enigma. She wore a sleek navy suit, impeccably tailored but free of gaudy flourishes, and carried a leather tote over her shoulder. No oversized logos, only the subtle shimmer of authority. Her neatly braided hair was pulled into a low bun. A gold watch on her wrist kept a steady, commanding rhythm. She approached the counter, ready for Flight 214 to Seattle. The agent, Travis Grayson, slight build, slanted name tag, tie askew, didn't look up from his screen. "Boarding pass," he muttered, fingers tapping a mundane beat on the keyboard. Elena slid it across. "First class, 9:15 a.m., she stated, her name clearly displayed as though carved in granite. He scanned it, squinted, scanned again, then flicked it back with a dismissive twist of his wrist, like an old receipt. "Nope," he snapped. "Not in the system." Elena's voice was calm, yet razor-edged. "It's there. Check again." Travis allowed himself a quick glance, something like mild annoyance pricking at him. He thought, "Another one. Wears a business suit and thinks she's automatically important? Not gonna fly. I've seen this act before." Then he looked away, smirking. "I did. You're not on this flight. Economy's over there." He jerked a thumb at the twisting line for general boarding, pivoting to assist the next passenger, a white man in a polo, offering him a brisk, "Morning, sir." Elena remained. Her voice dropped to a resolute hush. "I'm not moving. This is my ticket. First class. Paid. Confirmed. Look again." Travis's smirk faltered, and he leaned in, hammering harder on the keys. The screen flickered like it was mocking him. "Ma'am," he barked, "I'm telling you, you're not here. Move aside or I'll call security." Those in line began to stir. A woman in a designer scarf exhaled loudly. A businessman glanced at his watch, tapping a polished shoe against the tile. Agitation vibrated outward. Elena pulled out her phone and showed him the confirmation email. It detailed the date, time, seat 2A, with Elevation Air's emblem in crisp black and white. "Then explain this." Travis snatched her phone, scrolled with a scoff, and slid it back across the counter so roughly that it almost fell. "Fake, glitch, whatever, doesn't match. You're done." He laid extra emphasis on the last words, eyes sweeping over her like she was an inconvenience. Inside, Travis felt a flicker of triumph. "I'm not getting fooled by fancy clothes and a confident posture. Not happening." He'd already decided this was a dead end. A second agent, Linda Carver, ponytail pulled so tight it nearly gave her a headache, arms crossed like a barricade, stepped over. Boots clicking on the tile. "What's going on?" she demanded, her glare fixed on Elena with open suspicion. "Do we have a problem here?" "The system's wrong," Elena answered, calm but immovable. I paid for first class. Correct it. Linda seized the boarding pass, fed it into the scanner. Her lips pressed into a grim line when it beeped with a flat rejection. Nothing. Sorry, ma'am, you're not boarding. Travis leaned back, arms folded. A fresh wave of smugness filled him. Told you. Step aside, or we'll take this up a notch. The air crackled with tension. Elena could practically taste it, that long, familiar tang of being measured, disbelieved, or quietly dismissed. She locked eyes with both agents. Her voice was a knife's edge. You're making a mistake. Fix it, or I will. Travis let out a sharp laugh. Yeah, go ahead, sweetheart. Beside him, Linda's smirk deepened, her thumb inching toward the radio at her hip. Elena didn't flinch. She moved closer, heels nearly brushing the base of the counter, and took out her phone. One specific number, her personal failsafe. Not for theatrics, but surgical precision. Marcus, she said, voice clipped. O'Hare, Elevation Air. They're denying me first class. Ticket's legit. Handle it. Now. Marcus Reed, her COO, and the person she trusted most in these situations, did not hesitate. Got it. 2 minutes, he replied, his voice unwavering through the earpiece. Elena ended the call and leveled her gaze at Travis. He looked back, forced a sneer to hide the uneasiness creeping in. She said nothing more, only waited, her presence as heavy as oncoming thunder. Travis's fingers tapped the keyboard feverishly. Small beads of sweat sprouted at his temple. Come on, load, he hissed, ignoring the unsettled stares of passengers behind Elena. Lines of code blinked, froze, and spat out a bright red system error. Invalid entry, he barked, smacking the counter with his palm. A child in line jumped, clutching a teddy bear tighter. Linda's radio crackled. She lifted it to her ear. Upon hearing the urgent voice on the other end, her eyes went wide. Panic flitted across her face. She shot Travis a look, rattled for the first time. Maybe this woman's actually more than we thought. Did we just screw up everything? What's going on? Travis demanded, a tremor sneaking into his tone as he jabbed the keys again. The screen danced with glitched lines, half-formed messages, and codes. Passengers began clamoring in earnest, voices spiking around them. Come on, said a man in a suit. I have a connection. This is ridiculous, muttered a woman softly, rocking a stroller. Suddenly, a new voice rose behind them. A middle-aged man in a plaid shirt and baseball cap stepped forward. Hey, he called toward the agents, nodding at Elena. She's got all the proof. And it's all confirmed. We're watching you. Let her board. Another passenger, a woman toting a laptop bag, chimed in. Honestly, she's right. If her details are legit, why are you pushing her aside? Travis's face grew splotchy with anger, annoyance, maybe even shame. Linda's expression wavered at this unexpected push from the line itself. Then the overhead speakers cut in, static, slicing through the terminal's buzz. Flight 214 to Seattle is on temporary hold. Please stand by for further updates. Travis cursed under his breath, hammering the keyboard anew. Unbelievable, growled a businessman, drumming his fingers on his carry-on. Linda's radio crackled again, another tense directive. She turned, scowling, as she tried to talk quietly into the device. Yes, sir, she's still here. What do you mean, VIP list? I don't have that access. Around them, frustration curdled into discontent. Yet Elena stood still, the calm nucleus in a cyclone of anxiety. She watched Travis's confidence erode, Linda's composure tilt precariously, and the gate area roil with restless voices. Before long, the crowd parted. Gary Hall, Elevation Air's station supervisor, appeared, tie undone, forehead gleaming with perspiration. He half ran to the counter, eyes landing on Elena with a mixture of alarm and pleading. "Miss Maxwell," he called, voice taut. Elena offered a slight nod. Her eyes shone with the kind of steel that made grown people shrink back. Gary's voice shook. "I'm sorry, ma'am. There's been a major mix-up. You're cleared. We're working on fixing it right now." Elna's expression did not soften. Fixing what exactly? Why was I denied? Gary wrung his hands so hard his knuckles whitened. "It's a flag in the system. I promise it's an error. Corporate is already on it." "A flag?" She advanced a fraction, voice rising sharply. "My ticket is legitimate. Your agents assumed it wasn't." "Why?" Linda and Travis hovered behind the counter, both suddenly meek, eyes downcast. They could practically feel the entire line glaring at them. Linda thought, if only I hadn't doubled down. Why did I just assume she was lying? Gary dabbed his forehead with a handkerchief, words tumbling out in a frenzied panic. "I'm not sure yet, ma'am, but they're sorting it out. I have calls in. We'll know soon." "Not good enough," Elena said, each syllable crisp as broken glass. "You don't get to shrug this off. I want reasons, and I want them now." A hush fell over the vicinity, a sort of collective suspension, as if everyone had taken a single breath and was waiting for a verdict. Gary's radio sputtered to life. He flinched, pressing it to his ear. Whatever he heard made him blanch. "Miss Maxwell," he managed, voice small. "They have the logs. Your ticket is reinstated. Boarding for Flight 214 is resuming. Please let me escort—" "No," Elena cut him off, voice a whip crack echoing against polished floors. "You do not escort me anywhere until I know why your people looked at me and cried fake." Gary gulped, Adam's apple bobbing. "It's coming down from upstairs," he said, nearly stammering. "Just 2 minutes, I promise." She folded her arms, watch ticking like a countdown bomb. Behind the counter, Linda and Travis cowered, the monitors an endless display of errors. Phones shrilled in unison, an unrelenting squeal of blame. Travis slammed the keyboard once more, cursing under his breath. Linda hissed at him. "Stop it, Travis. Did you hear that? She's somebody big, and we're done." Passengers in line pressed closer, the tension rolling in thick waves. Someone raised a phone camera, capturing the entire scene. Finally, Gary's radio burst with a voice so loud it crackled over the general commotion. "Maxwell is clear. CEO of Maxwell Innovations, top-tier VIP, agents messed up. Get her on that plane immediately." Gary turned, eyes nearly popping from his skull as he pleaded. "Ms. Maxwell, you're fully authorized to board. First class. Top priority." "We didn't realize—" "You didn't ask," Elena finished, with a glare that could dismantle walls. "Who taught your agents to assume?" She jabbed a finger at Travis and Linda. Both of them shrank deeper into themselves. Travis fumbled with his pockets. Linda gripped the counter until her knuckles burned white. Gary tried a shaky explanation. "We're going to find out What went wrong, ma'am? Absolutely. I promise. And you'll share that with me, she fired back, then paused just long enough that silence pressed in from all sides. She reached for her bag. One more thing. Those two don't touch another passenger until they learn some respect. Make sure of it. Gary bobbed his head frantically. Yes, ma'am. They're off rotation. Retraining starts immediately. Elena strode toward the gate. No hollow apologies necessary. Travis and Linda were left behind, sidelined by Gary's directives, his voice breaking as he tried to salvage the chaos. Her seat in first class was plush, and a flight attendant greeted her with a slightly shaky, "Welcome aboard, Miss Maxwell." Elena didn't slouch into the cushions. She sat upright, thinking over every grimace, every flash of arrogance, and the precise moment they realized she wasn't to be dismissed. Her phone chimed, a text from Marcus. "You good?" She replied, "Oh, I'm good." Left them spinning. He sent back a fist bump emoji. By noon, Elevation Air's gate remained in shambles. Travis and Linda were pulled from duty. Gary scrambled to file incident reports. Frustrated passengers still buzzed about the unstoppable woman who had practically paused a flight. But Elena hadn't frozen anything. She'd simply bent it until it fell in line. Word shot through the airline hierarchy. A memo was circulated. Agents were shuffled. System flags were re-examined. Elena Maxwell's name was sealed off from any further errors. She touched down in Seattle and was greeted by Marcus, who smirked. "Heard you made them sweat," he teased. "They earned every drop," Elena replied. "Lunch first, work after. They'll remember this." Back at O'Hare, Travis clocked out early, muttering about overblown nonsense as he flung his name tag into a locker. Linda hung back, waiting for a dreaded 6 a.m. training session she couldn't wriggle out of. Fiddling nervously with her pen, Gary penned a stiff email to Elena that night. "Ms. Maxwell, agents disciplined. System flags under review. Your feedback is included in the training module. Thank you." She read it, expression set. The laptop's glow reflected in her eyes. No dramatic meltdown. No self-indulgent spectacle. Just a precise, piercing lesson embedded deep into Elevation Air's fabric. They misjudged her once, regretted it in seconds, and she departed triumphant, leaving them to sift through the wreckage of their own assumptions. For anyone who's been brushed aside, underestimated, or told you don't belong, this moment was for you. Elena Maxwell didn't burn the place down. She deftly locked it down and pocketed the key. If that ignited something inside you, share the story. Speak it loud. This is just the beginning of stories that demand to be heard. And trust, the fire has only begun to smolder.